Well, Barry, firstly, what's the mood been in the camp over the last week or so? I'd imagine fairly buoyant after what was a super evening at the Abbey last Monday and an equally good result as well.
Yeah, it was a brilliant atmosphere and like I say, a brilliant result for us. So yeah, atmosphere has been great. Super hot in training, so maybe difficult with the temperatures so high. But I think we got some really good training days in, and we're looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I would imagine, looking back on last Monday, just very briefly, it was a performance that showed all the discipline and resilience that you want from a side, so the back to front, top end of the pitch and at the back as well. And I guess it must be really pleasing for yourself as a group of coaching staff to see what you work on during the week come off on a match day.
Yeah, I thought that game, we looked like us, I thought we were really good without the ball, which I think is a big thing for us. I thought there was loads of real good connections between the units, really good aggression, and then really good composure when we regained the ball. And they play quite a narrow shape, so they often have quite a lot of numbers around the ball to kind of counter press fast. But I thought the composure the lads showed and the quality in possession was really good as well. So yeah, the game was brilliant for us, and I thought it looked like a Cambridge United performance.
Yeah, obviously it's a strange kind of run of fixtures at the moment. I think it's just one. I think I'm right in saying the Reading game's one of only one in 20 days, certainly in the leagues. Obviously, you get the cup games, interspersed between that. But Mark mentioned last week that it does give you an opportunity to work on a little bit more on the training grounds. It does have its benefits, even though you're not getting a match day. So how's that panning out, Barry? You mentioned it a moment ago, but here's some thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's important, especially when there's new ones coming into the group. Obviously, JK is coming into the group, and you want to kind of give them an idea of exactly how we play. So training days are really important for that. We're aware that we have a really busy schedule coming up soon, and we don't often, in this league, the games come so thick and fast that so often you just play, recover, and you don't have much time on the training pitch. So when we do get the opportunity to have extended days on it, we try to, to get lots of our identity across to the players and just keep reinforcing what we want to be good at.
Yeah, and I guess looking ahead to tomorrow, obviously you would have done some work with the players heading into that game, and I guess it's a competition that's kind of derided in some quarters, but I guess it's the one big opportunity for some of the other players in the squad that are not so regularly in the 11 at that moment in time to get a bit of game time. Yeah,
that's it. And I think our teams have been fairly, we've picked a similar team. It's been fairly consistent, and of course we've done really well. But I think what people don't see is the fact that the players that are playing, they've obviously performed well and they've won football matches, but they also know that there's, with the training levels of other players who haven't quite had as many minutes, they really push the ones that have the shirt, and the ones that have the shirt know that, if we don't perform well, they see these guys in training. We have a good squad, and they know that they'll take their place if they don't keep the levels high. So it's when you see us have a fairly good start to the season, it's not just the players on the pitch. It's definitely a squad effort, and I think levels have been really high, which is which is shown with the results we've had.
Yeah, and I guess that's what you want to see on the training ground. I guess the players that are perhaps a little bit more regularly on the bench or not in the squad, they're trying to push and get into that starting. Do you see that kind of difference on the training ground, or certainly something you want to see them really pushing and showing that they can perhaps do a job for you?
Oh, there's absolutely no question of it. And like I say, that we have had a reasonably settled team, but part of the reason for that is that, like I say, the ones in the 11 know that if they don't perform well and they don't maintain their standards and maintain standards in training, the lads who haven't been in the team have been training particularly well. Tomorrow night is probably an opportunity for them to get minutes and then to kind of show everybody else how well they've been doing, and so we look forward to that. But it's definitely it's a squad effort, no question about that.
Yeah, and obviously some of the younger sort of up and coming sort of developing players that made their way up through the scholarship of the youth team and have made appearances here and there. We saw Glenn McConnell come off the bench at Leighton Orient a couple of weeks ago. So are you looking to get them game time tomorrow? So I'm thinking Glenn and perhaps Mamadou Jobe, and to a lesser extent Lewis Sim, because he's played a few more games. But
yeah, I think these players will, without giving the team away, there's definitely going to be there'll be changes to the team, and there'll be players that haven't maybe had as many minutes. Players that are coming back from injury. I think we're likely to see Adam May play his first minutes. Zeno will get more minutes under his belt, and players that you mentioned will all be thereabouts. So like I say, it's a really good opportunity for players to get match minutes and in a really good game against our local rivals.
Yeah, obviously have that little bit of edge to it, as it always does with games against Peterborough. But in terms of the competition itself, that some of the rules, as we know, are slightly quirky, and we understand that there's some difficult rules around some of the younger players that are out on loan elsewhere that you'd like to field in the competition. But I think I'm right in saying, you might correct me, but if they're on a longer term loan elsewhere, they can come back and play. But if they're on a short term loan, they can't. Is that right?
I will not correct you there, because with all the rules of it, I find that hard to keep up as well. We've had discussions all through the week, because there is restrictions with what team you can play, but obviously we won't be breaking any rules, so we'll have a strong team tomorrow. But there will be opportunities for players that haven't had as many minutes. Will play in the game.
Yeah, one of those younger players, Kai Yern, I'm assuming he won't feature tomorrow, but they're headed off on loan to Chelmsford, a super move for him, playing at Conference North or South level, and he's got an old foe there in Josh Coulson as well, who we all know pretty well, but it's a good move for him in terms of his development, Barry.
I think so, yeah. He's had, he's obviously trains with us every day, but he doesn't have the exposure to match minutes, and I think that'll be great for him. We've got Josh. Josh was at I think it was the Reading game the other night, so we spoke to him in the office and told him to look after him. So it's great that he has someone that he will kind of put his arm around him and look after him a little bit, and it's brilliant that he'll go and hopefully get plenty of minutes and plenty of experience.
Yeah, and one area of the pitch I was thinking about a little earlier in terms of tomorrow evening you've got Jack Stevens, who's out injured for 2, perhaps 3 weeks, we understand, but that was from last week. Is it another opportunity for Will Manning to come in and just increase his match minutes, or perhaps James Holden, who's still to make his debut, Barry? Yeah,
well, I think that's probably a perfect example of what I was kind of talking about earlier with Jack Stevens. He's obviously come in and he's been brilliant in the first few games, and unfortunately picked up an injury, but it just goes to show the levels the others keep themselves at, because I thought Will came in and was really, really good in the game. I thought he was fairly faultless with his performance, and then made that brilliant. It was a whole bunch of moments of defending our box. I think Liam Bennett and Ryan Bennett made a couple of brilliant blocks, and then Will came and made 2 brilliant saves in a row. And the rest of his performance was exceptional. So it goes to show there's a strong squad here. There's players that are ready to come in and play. And I'm quite excited for the game tomorrow, because there will be, like I say, players that haven't had as many minutes that are going to play, and I've watched them in training, and they're keeping their levels really high. So I expect to see a good performance tomorrow.
Yeah, you mentioned Adam May a few moments ago, Barry. I mean, that's a huge moment for him, because it's been a really long road. I mean, it's almost a year, isn't it? And since he played a first team game or took any part, and we know he's returned to training. But is he strong and ready to go? Yeah,
I think so. I think he's looking forward to the game. He's been training with us now for quite a while. He's getting, again, we all think that he's getting sharper with every training session he has. And the next step is to play minutes on the pitch. So he's been really good in training. He's going to be and he's going to be a really important part of our squad. So it'll be good for him to, like I say, get his first minutes tomorrow.
Yeah, there was Mark mentioned Brandon Hornstrop, who is very close to a return as well. Barry, are we likely to see him tomorrow?
I think Brandon still has a little bit of time to go with a kind of return to play protocol, so he's still in the care of the physios and sports scientists, so he's just a little bit away from training with the group.
Yeah, and in terms of the competition itself, Barry, obviously it's a competition that you want to progress in. Last year was unfortunate, really, because I think I'm right in saying won 2 of your 3 games, but failed to qualify. So you're looking to go that one step further. And of course, it's a competition that the further you go, get to your knockout stages, and it becomes a little bit more exciting, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. It's like nothing. You want to condition the players that every time they cross a white line, whether it's in training or any type of game, that they want to go, they want to win, and that they have full application and intensity to every game. That's the way we'll see it. I know that these games don't there's not as much of an interest from supporters, I guess, at times, and attendances can be low. But we'll hopefully, with it being against a local rival, we'll try to bring as much intensity as we can. We definitely want to win the games. We'll see how far we can go in the competition.
Yeah, have you had a chance to watch Peterborough at all? I guess it's kind of difficult because you don't know what kind of side they're going to put out, whether they're going to go with fringe players or youngsters. So it's difficult to gauge, what sort of challenge you're going to face tomorrow night.
It is difficult, and when we kind of feed back to the players and analyse Peterborough, we can't be too sure exactly on what type of team they want to put out. But their principles remain the same. That they tend to play a 4-2-3-1 shape. They've got pace at the top end of the pitch. They're a really good side. They've always been a good side at League One level, and obviously and got promotion a couple of seasons ago. So they're really good opposition. We look forward to the game.
Thanks, Barry. That's all from me.
No worries.
Morning, Barry. Just on tomorrow's game, obviously it is the EFL Trophy and you're planning to make changes, but do you think there'll be an added spice to it given that it's a derby fixture?
Yeah, I guess so. We go out to the games. Me personally, I guess I'm not from Cambridge. I'm adopted to Cambridge. I guess I love Cambridge. I don't dislike Peterborough at all. That's the way I am. I kind of have fallen in love with Cambridge, the city of Cambridge, and the football club. But Peterborough doesn't really mean a lot to me. Sometimes when if you do have them emotions towards an opposition, it can cloud your judgment. So we can, it probably makes it easier for us as a coaching staff to be very objective with our kind of analysis and at the games, and we'll see. I don't know what the crowd will be tomorrow. Again, I don't know how much the competition will generate an interest in this early stages, but every time we play a football match, we're trying to win.
And how nice a moment is it going to be to see Adam May back on the pitch tomorrow? Because it's been a long road to recovery for him, hasn't it?
It has. It's always difficult when you get such long-term injuries, and he's had a tough time, but he's seen the end of it now because he's been back with us training. I have my own experiences of that, so I kind of know what Adam has been through. He's a brilliant guy, very popular amongst the rest of the guys. So it'll be, we're all really pleased to see him getting back onto the pitch, and and he'll be such an important member of our squad as well.
Just in terms of the team news as well, is it the same squad to pick from the Reading game?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and John Kamani Gordon as well. Is he available to play in cup competitions this season? Yeah,
he'll be available for tomorrow. And again, we have to be slightly thoughtful for him because I think he was in that kind of period with Palace where he's gone past all the youth levels and he's with the first team, but at times then it's obviously difficult to get into the first team at a Premier League club, so he's had lots of training exposure with the first team at Palace, but probably hasn't had as many match minutes as he would like, so we have to be thoughtful of that he's he hasn't had loads of 90 minutes under his belt, so we'll take that keep that in mind for the game tomorrow.
And just finally, on Liam Bennett, how nice is it to see him playing week in, week out and doing as well as he is at the moment? Yeah,
well, I'm not surprised at all. I've kind of been with Liam along on his journey from the beginning, because with the connection with St. Neots initially, and he played with me there, and he's just he's relentless with the way he trains. He's got a brilliant mentality. He's it doesn't surprise me how well he's done on the pitch, and I'm really pleased for him. He's a really good kid.
It's great. Thanks, Barry.
No problem.
Just one from me, Barry. As a former forward, how pleased have you been with Bajiri's start to the season? I know he hasn't had a lot of starts and he's come off the bench a lot, but I think he's leading goal scorer and seems to be free of those injury problems. As a former forward yourself, how pleasing has his form been?
Yeah, we're really happy with him, and I would imagine that he's in a really great place and really confident because he's had such a big influence in the season. Again, I go back to what I was saying to Doug about the competition in the squad and players knowing that they have to perform well when they're on the pitch. And another example of that is, Gassan has to perform well, because he sees Fajiri, who's comes on in games, has massive impacts. He trains at a really high level. So it's really great for us having this really strong competition amongst the players. And again, you mentioned Fajiri. It's brilliant for him because he's in a really good place. He's fit, he's strong, and he's having impact, real impacts in the matches.